Welcome to the Javier Mendez podcast. So we're here with Coach Jav. Another exciting week. Biggest headlines we're seeing out there is boxing everywhere. And you want to talk about Nate Diaz or Ngannou first? Which one do you prefer?
Well, let's go the one that's closest, Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz. Yep. So we have a UFC star. This mystery isn't anything new. A UFC guy that's towards the end of his career, been through a lot of fights, going into boxing, which isn't his primary sport, but the Diaz brothers, a little more primary than the average guy for sure. Like you talked about with the boxers that they used to spar with and so forth, world champions. So what do you think this looks like for Nate Diaz and Jake Paul coming off a loss on his last fight against a guy that wasn't a mega ranked boxer, but he's part of the Gypsy King family?
Yeah, well, you got to look at the strengths of each fighter. With basically, Jake Paul, you look at his advantage, youth, sizes on his age is on his side. Strength is on his side. Size is on his side because he's a bigger guy. So you got that. But that's it. I don't give him anything else over Diaz other than that. He's bigger, he's younger, he's stronger. But as far as boxing experience, he doesn't have nowhere near the experience Nate does. Nate's been boxing for a long time. Even though he does MMA, he's been primarily boxing for 20-something years, I bet you. He's been boxing for a while. So it's not like Nate is going to be this guy that's never boxed before. Primarily, boxing is one of the biggest things he uses. So if Jake cannot finish him, which is going to be very difficult to do, or gasses out in the later rounds, yeah, he could be in trouble. And, Nate Diaz is known to drown you. The longer the fight goes, the more it favors Nate. And I'm going to agree. I favor Nate too. If the fight goes longer, I favor Nate. If it ends early, Nate's not known to stop anybody early. He's known for the long haul, and
punches and punches.
Yeah, punches and bunches. And can Jake hold on in the later rounds? Because Jake, inexperienced that he is, he's more experienced now. He proved he's the real deal when he beat Anderson Silva, no doubt. And so he's the real deal. He's the real deal. And I didn't see the fight with Tommy Fury that he lost. I'm shocked that he lost. I would have never thought he was going to lose that. So there goes your expert analysis on my end. I did not think after beating Anderson Silva that he was going to go lose to Tommy Fury, and he did. So I didn't see the fight, so I don't know, but he lost. So now you're going up against another guy that's really good in Nate Diaz. And is Nate better than Anderson Silva in boxing? I don't know. But then remember this, Anderson Silva went out and beat Chavez Jr. in just boxing. And Chavez Jr. was a world champion, So, one thing we know, Nate Diaz can box. Anderson Silva can box, and Jake Paul can box. So the advantages are Jake's the bigger guy. Jake probably hits harder. So those are the three advantages. But the key point on the other end is Nate Diaz got all the experience. Okay, all the experience is on Nate Diaz's side. The cardio is going to go on Nate Diaz's side. I'm telling you right now. Cardio is going to go on Nate Diaz's side. Experience is definitely Nate Diaz's side. So I don't look at this, Nate's never boxed. Bullshit. Almost every UFC fight he's boxed. No. Experience goes to Nate Diaz. Heart, Nate Diaz. Hands down, Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz. So 4-3.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think, you know what? The last time, Fury is a boxer and wasn't an MMA fighter, did great, stuck to boxing. And I think that made a big difference. It's like, it's weird math. Like you're looking at Woodley, he knocked people out, one hand knockout, one punch knockouts. You look at Anderson, he had a lot of knockouts. He had great head movement and all that. But it didn't translate later on. I think that he get fought up against a really good game plan in the boxing ring. There's a lot of different rules and ways to learn your way around either the cage, the ring, or wherever you're fighting. And how you stall for time or play or defend. There's a lot of different rules,
And
different sports.
Had Jake not dropped Anderson, he might not have won that fight either.
Right.
He came inside, and he dropped Anderson. If he didn't drop him, we might not have seen him win that fight. It was a close fight.
Right.
You know, that knockdown really changed. You know, because remember, in boxing, you knock someone down, it's an automatic, almost a 10-8 round. And if you really beat him up, it's a 10-3, 7 round. Okay, so when you did that, when you dropped him, that was a 10-8 round.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a big favor in Jake's had. You know, so that just meant that Silva would have to add. I won 2 more rounds, so it just to break even. So three rounds on a 9-10 round to be ahead. So that put Anderson behind the 8 ball. So had that never happened, Anderson would have probably won that fight.
Well, I think there's more footage on Jake to watch now. I think Nate Diaz is going to be his toughest MMA guy because he's younger. I mean, Anderson's a lot older, you know, and you know, he's younger. He's still got his vitality about him, Nate Diaz. I think that's a thing. I think he's more of a boxer than Woodley was. I think he's more of a boxer than I don't know. I wouldn't know if he's more of a boxer than Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's just a boxer. Can't say that he's more than. So we'll have to see on that. But I think I'm going to lean with Nate Diaz this time. That's my take.